Hi. So what I learned in logistics management is, first, of course, we differentiated what supply chain management is and logistic management is. So for supply chain management, it's like the all the planning and management activities that involves the sourcing, procurement, conversion, and logistics management. So it's like all the activities that an organization or a business needs to do in order to make a product or goods that's starting from procurement. While logistics management is like an essential part of the supply chain management, and its functions is focused on like the planning, controlling, storing, and of course transporting of goods and services from the point of origin to the end consumers. So that means from the factory or the retail stores up until the consumers. And we have identified the different functions of logistics in supply chain. We have here, or we discuss like procurement, demand forecasting, customer service, order management, inventory, transportation, warehousing, and of course materials handling and packaging. Also, once we have discussed what supply chain management is, we also discuss and try to understand the supply chain. So it's understanding the supply chain. So we define the different utilities or the value or the benefit the customer receives from a purchase. So we have discussed like form utility, time utility, place utility, possession, information, and service utility. Also, we discuss about the inventory planning and control. Like we learned what the dependent demand and independent demand is. Like the dependent demand is directly linked to the independent demand. Like it's if we are making a product, the independent demand, for example, we are making a bicycle. So the independent demand will be the demand for the bicycle. The dependent demand will be the demand for the wheels or the brake handle or the brakes or the fork of the bicycle. So those parts of the bicycle are dependent demand because their demands actually depends on the demand of the bicycle, which is the independent demand. And we also discuss the different types of inventory like raw materials, work in process. So raw materials, of course, of the name itself, it's the basic components or the raw materials that we need in order for us to produce or make a product. Work in process is when the process that we are in the middle of actually producing the product that out of the raw materials that we have. The finished goods is actually from the name itself as well, the finished products that we make from the production. And lastly, we have like the maintenance, repair, and operations. So it's like the office equipment, the packing boxes, tools, and parts of the repair equipment. So, for example, in repairing a bicycle, we need tools such as screwdrivers and pliers. So, we also discuss the different costs of inventory, like the carrying costs, ordering costs, and setup costs, and how these costs are related with each other. We also have the economic order quantity. It's like the optimized number of orders that an organization can order from its supplier to make sure that they will not have an oversupply or an undersupply of raw materials, and that will ensure efficient production of their goods and products. Also, we discuss about aggregate planning and schedule. Like we have long range, medium range, and short range, and the different types of processes or process decisions for organizations like project, job shop, batch, production, or assembly, continuous, and also we have learned about the logistics systems, of course. If we are talking about logistics management, we will be talking about how we move a product from the origin to the customer. Like we have the different modes of transport, like rail, motor carriers, carriers, water, intermodal carriers, pipeline. And these types of modes of transport are being used by different organizations worldwide to actually deliver goods to their customers and consumers. Also, if we are going to discuss the different modes of transport, we also discuss the different types of warehouses, as logistics management involves warehousing your products as well as your raw materials. So we have like the factory warehouse, retail distribution, catalog or retailer, support warehouse. That's by customer classification. We also discuss warehouses by role in the supply chain, like distribution centers, consolidation, break bulk, cross docking, and reverse logistics. We also have warehouses by ownership type, like public warehouse and private warehouse. We have contract, we have bonded, government, and cooperative. We also learn about the warehouse economic benefits like cost effectiveness, accumulation, postponement, allocation, and market presence. Also, we have discuss about reverse logistics. So if we have like the forward logistics that we use to deliver goods and products to customer, reverse logistics is actually the opposite. So it's focusing more on the efficient flow of recyclable and reusable materials, returns and reworks from the point of consumption for repair, remanufacturing, and redistribution. So, as well as with the forward logistics, we also have like the elements involved in the backward logistics, like the reuse, repair, remanufacture, recycle, and disposal. As I mentioned, it's more concerned about how we can reuse the products or the goods from the customer going to the manufacturer. And lastly, we have discussed about the supply chain operations and risk management. Like we have discussed the different supply chain approach and how we can manage the risk that might be caused by different factors like supplier failure to deliver your raw materials. So how are you going to mitigate, or how are you going to lessen the impact to your business operations if your supplier was not able to deliver your raw materials? So as well as supplier delivering not so good quality of raw materials. So are how are businesses going to avoid getting their businesses disrupted by these kinds of risks and factors, like also logistics delays, distribution, information loss or distortion, as well as political, economical, natural catastrophes, and theft. So we discuss those different risks and factors that might affect the production or the logistics of an organization or a business. We also learn on different ways on how we can mitigate and we can reduce the impacts of those risks to the business operations. So I think that will be all, and thank you.